Hello, Congress. Since founding, with each position of job, especially if jobs in the law, recorded, relying upon what is in collusion, with criminally foreign influence databases. Everyone lying through criminally foreign influence legal bodies since before our founders were born entrenched here. Not as peace, we're as peace as that's what was roles with the organized crime method that was using slavery overtly, physically, and with crazy laws against everyone to keep what came out of it only capable of defending roles within as an abridged quality of fact treatment nature, as simultaneous nature as value. And so standing lie progressions to spots. Standing lie progression cover up nature styles, anticipated, exploited to spots, especially with psychology. As standing like three standing people, the branches. I want to make a cartoon out of it. But that's what it is, where it's negative value nature still. Abridged fact treatment nature, criminal insidiousness nature. I'm not a lawyer, not a police form, not a criminal. They're recorded interbranch how? Entered into departments at CCSU, many from my town, which has the state judicial branch offices in it, connected to why and how George Washington and James Madison could only semi-account or extort and have to hide the extent of their roles with what really forced the American Revolution. Everyone's individual narrative, as in criminal insidiousness natures, forced to be. Because it was either that or to stay even deeper as all slaves. This is about the fact treatment nature slavery of our founding fathers who had to hide it, as recorded to correlation, which does not deny exceptions and exception nature, which is in demonstration of what is only true always. What is trying to be that is what causes evolution. Not one opinion nature is letting people tell other things on time because they're using groups of women speaking and of men, each age of fact treatment nature recorded how. Motivated to this, as Victor Predator, how there was a congressional investigation and stuff like that tied to how. Now this is former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, recorded and confessed by people associated with his federal criminals that were associated with kids growing up in my town, criminally involved, in houses in my area, criminally involved with the other FBI, associated with families now involved with further child offenders of juxtaposed natures, child abusers of a whole bunch of different juxtaposed natures, men and women, interbranch, private, and intercampuses, tied to what first had them criminally exploit in a sustained way. See, they're criminally exploiting in a sustained way all the kids who aren't already being used by parents who need to cover up lie progressions in each modern nation. How they're stayed this way, criminally foreign influence, because they're juxtaposed with other nations too, with psychology criminally involved, with justice systems, with sequence shifting rackets, with database solution stacking rackets, and within as they're recorded motivations and roles with Trade Center crime acts. And preventing men from speaking by investing women, like in other words, Trinity College was involved with crimes that with investigators on off CCSU, and then they carried their crime acts onto Trinity College and using standing means to do that per involvements with FBI and CIA. with various natures of recorded crime acts that they're not letting reported. They're forging names of all kinds of natures of drug crimes, forging names of doctors with a Leahy family, whole family, brothers, and women in their family, and a Lombardo family associated with police forms, interbranch police chief's daughter, extended family, involved with crimes with principal sex offender, my name through time, identity thefts. Their database solution stacking at the same time. Then they have offensive evidence reception crime roles in the courts, the same way they do when they treat what even Jim Crow laws are. This is worse than criminal incompetence with the organized crime body countering bodies of our nation since founding, not by accident, tied to this. This knew that whatever was going to unfold from what they forced intercolony, which was with interstate, were a state of not just of mind, were a state of nature of volume. That is a positive or negative relationship to itself as a complete nature that is true, or as a complete nature that is still criminal and insidious nature. You can't legalize it. See, but the only reason it is legalized is because we have in our faces American history glorified what our founders wanted to demonstrate was their identity theft, their stolen identities, not in correlation with what they were about. That is the first obligation when it comes to the Declaration of Independence. Everyone not to glorify it without explaining that. Then that's a criminal insidious nature breaching screen, weapon tool. Pretend to care about the Constitution by pretending who knows the most. Marbury versus Madison. Anything, real justice must satisfy all appearances of real justice. Doesn't mean fake it. That's the lesson of overt slavery. Simple. A simple organized crime method to describe. What made it not complicated and simple? Liars up front. What that made that motivated. Interdepartments. So there's a guy from boxing they used to call it Johnny Duke. See, everyone's a victim predator, but everyone's speaking through other people. So they facilitated identity thefts with some Dave guy who lived near and from my town, who lived near the state prison offices. It's like right in that, one street is Hartford, one street's Wethersfield, apparently. And I only stopped by there for 1 second, one time. And that was for his recorded confessed roles with like a crimes with a DeMoro and a Ray Kalo as victim predators, but as predators per fact treatments per their being recorded and confessed and demonstrated, influenced by interbranch and by other people tied to them, and involved with judges, court families, with identity thefts, various natures of courts. People don't realize that. Like probate courts with kids and prison cliques and stuff like that. They're needing to hide the same lie progressions tied to this. Tied to what kept originally and still overt criminal enterprises, criminal insidious natures, needing to hide the same finite, active, body of value discernment lies, progressive body of value lies, and identity theft lies, sequence shifting lies. The sequence shift is a simultaneous nature, not supposed to be denying finite at all. Campus Marcius. Call lost and found, I'll call return our name. But the ancient republic was of a quality of fact treatment nature that was criminally re-engineered to have that invest fact treatment nature identities of jobs justifying that. To be measured standing victim predator tools as the only sophistication realized. And so propagated by a breaching organized crime method that knew that this would also self-cultivate itself, invested, needed to blame, and already having had blamed the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures on other things, on others, and on ourselves. This is what the Burroughs book is about, organized crime method that was here, that stole our American history and has it stolen actively. Per sequence shifts, database, illusion stacking, crime cover-up methods. So what the branches of government are needing to do is to pretend they're against what they are doing systemically, sickly. The Santa Claus is about this. St. Nicholas was put in prison. See, the interbranch criminality, intermilitary, also associated with this because of the systems they're using off campuses, and they're making people not be able to talk because a bunch of girls named Alicia interstate with this, tied to the Trade Center, tied to Washington, D.C., and to the people in the crime acts criminally involved with the co-defendants, a former director of the FBI. Also recorded and confessed involved with systemic wire crime methods that are associated. This is with not just an offensive evidence racket, completely a fact-cheating nature racket, where real science needs us to understand how we are fact-cheating nature. Understand how prayer, you can't deny that it's science when you're doing it this way. When you're trying to be what is positive to the finite, to active body of value discernment and progressive value discernment, they're pretending is too complicated because they're defending what has been defended, precedents, recorded, criminally foreign influenced. And how needing to hide, they only understand it through their own needs to defend their own styles of lying, already invested, forced defended. Forgiveness was greatly for this. This is the organized crime method that criminally re-engineered the Campus Marcia since before the birth of modern religions. Greatly about this. And greatly about, see, each modern nation is simultaneously, sickly, distinctly torture, hurt, and already invested, having blamed the original causes of it and the state, and progressive causes on others on selves. Not by accident. And that's to keep effectively how each modern nation is sickly, non-distinctly hurt by the same thing, never incapable of countering it, and of defending fact-cheating nature, conviction nature, morality treatments that are offensive, predatory, to pretend other. These are not means of, like, when you look at people stacking, you look at it from distance and then think about our whole species moving to claim even the suburbs bottom, and then overall up, so we see it with our eyes, from using geography like where there's bedrock. In other words, infrastructural standards above a relationship to water and stuff like that can evolve. That's because this is no. You can't. We have a tactically denatured relationship to nature, causing negative value nature progression. No one could justify science without holding on to mathematical, physical delusions recorded with and how we have no news, but in relationship to value nature systems and physical delusions and commonly exploiting what is non-distinctly hurting each nation, recorded rightfully to say that they're tortured victim predators. You know, I mean, but they just say victims, and then they say they will go to the Sutta. Each age of fact-cheating nature is in a trap here. States and areas. And then that's self-defended rules. So we have, like, souls. they have the crime method of stacking a whole bunch of people quantitatively with trick fact treatment, like with tricks with sequence shifts, fabrications, uses of interbranch database solution stacking with the campuses that are tied to on-off campuses already per the science of what the organized crime method that used color was you doing. That wasn't for money. People who say that need to do it from fake integrity. You have to hide their premises, lies, physical delusions, rely upon campuses' identities. From off campuses, maintaining on off campuses criminal foreign influences, criminally foreign influences branches. Then when someone tries to come with simultaneously inherent active and progressive means, formally, before it's even going at courts or allowed to go in courts, they hurt these people. Their own kids they'll hurt. If they start seeing the correlation, they'll tell them to shut their mouths. Because, and so in other words, this guy, Johnny Duke. See, then they make you talk about people you want to mind your own business. Because they're also sequence shifting. They've also been pretending that they pretend, people don't like certain kind of people and stuff like that. You're learning from other people. They're keeping context, whole context of the systems used for identity thefts, crime acts, and methods and roles. Interbranch. And then and that's tied to them. Pretend, then they have to pretend all kinds of things they can't pretend in the present without having and afford to have mandated law followed. And they're pretending passions and illusion and emotions dishonestly. Interbranch. Every time they do these things, they make it seem like there's care through the people who are faking passions. Recorded, I barely know her. The only time Debbie Gold recorded, she was influenced by O'Brien's recorded. I never had anything to do with them either. In my class, they were in a class. They saw me out to make confessions and stuff like this about interbranch crimes with an offensive evidence reception rackets and narratives where they spread rumors and lies. And there's a Joshua Julian also recorded criminally involved with this same campus when I was at Little with a principal sex offender they forced on the kids that was sentenced this year. But they forced that with more that were, that's how I know they forced it, because I tried to report sex crime acts and other natures of crimes, confessions and stuff like that brought it up. Now these were people that were involved with crimes on and off campus at CCSU and at Trinity College that were facilitated for them. They don't know that I know that. In other words, but they're recorded and confessed involved with a Dillon family, and some retired and standing detectives criminally involved with kids in my area with drug clicks and with time to get deaths. One on the campus of Trinity College, and some Alicias associated with Lena's Pizza recorded and confessed criminally involved with judges and with various natures of crimes with kids and with campuses, database through time, and with the same campus in my town and with ones in Hartford and around Lena's Pizza, with drugs with the kids, crimes with forensics clicks, various natures of police with state police. There's an Eric Olson and his Matt Olson. I never had a conversation. I don't know them in my life. I noted the one exception. They came in my class just to make it a fact cheat in nature, pretending to know me. And then the one other exception was real fast on Zion Street, right in the shadow of Trinity College, next to Johnny Duke's house. Johnny Duke, they called it dinosaur of amateur boxing. Associated with interbranch, he said he got into it through the court system. This is with New York and interstate, and he's associated with Willie Pep, and so, like his girlfriend and stuff like that. They're all part of the systems like associated with mobile gas station too, and like mobile gas stations and military police criminally involved, like an MPO Floyd and a Justice Kovinskis and other military police associated. Also, FBI associated with college I never went to, like Wesleyan and Ian up the street, per someone on Trinity's on Twitter, and per a John Mayana, also with various natures of FBI criminal roles, and with fake news crime acts of various natures by WFSB. Sequence shifts their crime acts with that to hide their crime acts leading up to in the context of a 2006 case, and since it, covering live progressions by offensive evidence perception crimes. See how using colors in an offensive evidence perception crime roles forced to everyone. Fact, cheating nature, slavery of our founders. Pounding drum. So, we'll examine this. What the hell am I? So the point is, there's people, like, there's a whole bunch of names. Like a Heather Hansen, recorded and confessed, involved with a whole bunch of interdepartmental people, like three Pandolf brothers. They live near Samuel Dick's house, also associated with our founding fathers' slavery. The database connections to that place, and the house around it, to Yagman brothers, to three Yagman brothers and their neighbors recorded and confessed, involve identity thefts, drug crime rules with a Leahy family. A Dr. Leahy, Brendan Leahy's his son, I don't know if he's a Dr. Brendan Leahy too. Also, he walked up to me with a pad one time. Closest we ever came to have a conversation, I had no conversation with him at all. In the triage they used, recorded and confessed, involved with other people that we can get the names of that are associated with the Paul Zano, also criminally involved with this, with the campus systems interstate, and with Luigi Guerrera, I think his name, and his sister, also recorded involved with police from Rocky Hill, involved criminally with switching names with the name McGee, and with the MPO Floyd, forging names, switching names, interbranch, attaching me to fake conversations about my not them, but the forging names, switching names, switching sequences, made pretend that I was talking about police equipment, which I never talked about with anyone. They said, well, in other words, so this Leahy family is also recorded, because he'd have fake conversation with me on paper, forging names of a Dr. Shamsi Ali, and other name forging crimes with the databases, interdepartments at the hospital, pretending things in the background to hide it because they're criminally involved with various natures of courts at once. That was their motivations for roles with the principal sex offender, recorded with their other medical crime acts, and drug crime roles with the cliques in New Britain Superior Court through time criminally involved, identity theft crime acts, even judges attaching me and my family and others to fake relationships to others, like this Joshua Julian and a Phil Cololo, also recorded and confessed and demonstrated tied to rules crimes, evidence crimes associated with Bob Chase, and with doctors associated with this Christine Bedard / Tardet, involved with fake news crime acts of various natures, and crime acts and cases and criminal roles and crime roles confessed, recorded, involved with name switching, forging, sequence shifting, using the databases to stack lies against people, in collusion after and then with crimes on off the campuses leading up to the 2006 case with the defendant, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and with one of his defendants who was with a daughter, recorded and confessed. I never had a conversation with her in my life. I saw her in my presence for like 1 second, one time, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, involved. They set up an illusion because they were stacking databases with illusions in conjunction with their roles with crimes with each age of fact sheet nature. A theater that is also recorded having been involved with the abuses of Christine Bedard. I don't know if she admits it or knows it or understands it, but through her recorded needs to hide lie progressions. Because John Mayana was recorded with her now through time, right? Actively, the media is still involved with sexual harassment and with the crimes with the courts of blaming other people what they did first, like harassment. They harassing people with sexual predators and medical ones, crime acts like that, and then charging the person if they do it is also recorded tied to wire crime methods. They're also charged to making domestic problems because they have, I got a divorce. They're recorded still sexually harassing my ex-wife and stealing her identity because of their crime roles with Kuwaiti military and with deans forging and switching names, identity theft crime acts, also recorded and confessed and demonstrated crime roles with their families who are like patients who are criminally involved with the doctors because they're involved with narratives where they force people to positions where they get a whole bunch of names, they stack more and more people to motivations to lie about strangers and to the need to hide the same finite body of value active lies that are kept off campuses than on off campuses criminally involved through time. CCSU also confirmed, confessed, and recorded crime roles with DMV families and DOT, and with those kind of like positions and titles used to manipulate media, personally, socially, and with interfamily, interbranch, and then interprivate. See, but all this is maintained, motivated by a breaching method, that organized crime method, that forgiveness was to enable a quality of fact sheet nature, where we have the same opinion natures defending integrities with physical delusions, criminal foreign influences, so they're not letting mandated law. The same ones who needed to pretend other because they're in positions to hold to. They're in positions as branches originally and still tied to exploitations of criminal justice systems, against each age of fact sheet nature. Let me tell you something. In cities where there's shootings, it's because there's intercampuses crime method, this one, from off campuses. CCSU was recorded and confessed involved with people with identity thefts through NAVE fact sheet nature reactions. Because maybe they have nuclear spots. Like they advertised on the news about, they said in South Windsor they have a nuclear spot or a class for it. I don't know. But whatever they have, there's no excuse for what they have, what they sustained in Hartford, Connecticut. And so they have other nations like Iran and stuff like that associated with the San Juan Center. You know what I'm saying? When we had these branches needing to hide lie progressions from their roles with the O'Brien family and with the Gold family that were criminally involved with the principal at the time was Mr. Murphy. And now his daughter was in the school at the same time with the interbranch families involved with the child sex offender principal. See, they're using him and Joshua Julian to cover their lie progressions and other sex crime this This is a Leahy family also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated consciously criminally involved with various natures of court and with New Britain Superior Court since I was a kid. In the background with them, also with the Brian Silver, I never had a conversation with. I heard him talk before, and there's recorded, confessed, involved with people interbranch and Cromwell, recorded and confessed involved, foreign victim predators with database crimes and interbranch crimes with intercity with Enzo Faenza and his cousin. I don't know his cousin's name. His cousin lives across the street from Sal Saviello. And they confessed, his cousin and him and some girls, they confessed crime rolls with a Dillon family. They confirmed. And through time with intercity police. And these are people criminally involved with WFSB investigators. And with an archpreacher that was there with next to the Paul Zano, recorded, confessed, involved criminally. And with Paula DeMorrow and McCord brothers with crimes with lawyers involved with the courts too, and with lie progressions where they make fake sides from the lie progression, because these were people then. These are people had nothing to do with, like the O'Briens and the Gold family. And the only context they would try to pretend other were contexts they were recorded criminally involved with. Various natures of crimes. Now these are people also recorded now and confessed by people that confess them, that I also don't know, who said that who confessed they're involved with the child offenders further. See, these are foreign and domestic doctors that were covering up their lie progressions from crimes with the areas and with the campuses, because they're also being used, by other agencies and their family members also criminally involved with the corners of Highcrest Street, and with Russians involved with that criminally, with the doctors criminally involved, and with the identity theft cliques. See, this is a whole bunch of people stacking names. See, and there's also a Soulsby that was also recorded and confessed by Kyle Gill and by his sister and mother and father, involved with the sister and the brother and mother. But he's also involved with they were involved with court police that were using the locations criminally to coerce people and to make things up with other people. Say, leading up to a 2006 case involved with mail crimes associated with, and people with identity thefts that were associated with Covington Street from my town and as my neighbors from Weathersfield. I didn't know they were in the town at the time. And they're also involved criminally with fire departments intercity. And these are criminally involved with Russians criminally involved. Also, they confessed this to me and to others and recorded it. I don't know all the names and stuff like that, because they're forging and switching names into branch so people can't report things. So they can't report mandated crimes because they already been criminal with cases through time. So then they had to hide lie progressions. They used people I don't know to make up things when I was in middle school, because they can't have a conversation about a context, because they were that would make a conversation that would bring up all their confessions in middle school tied to the grammar school interbranch and overt criminal enterprises confessions. Also recorded them using the same pattern method. See, this is what demonstrably really juxtaposed the overt criminal enterprises. all as victim predators with the branches, and then needed to hide the same lie, progression, cover-up natures and styles, needs and natures, theater, fake integrity. That is with what really left black being used by the law then and now, even when they even entertain their treatments, what they pretend is sufficient treatment of Jim Crow laws. It is worse than criminal incompetence and collusion already with what the organized crime method, fact cheapening nature, rackets, database illusion stack, and identity theft roles that is preventing this from being demonstrated. How the identities of each branch are maintained criminally foreign influenced. And so they're going to hide their lie progressions. They're going to need to do it by having sensibilities maintained that way, per having already facilitated psychology, foreign and domestic, needing to hide their own natures of physical delusions, intersciences, intertitles, lie progressions natures, criminal foreign influence juxtaposed with physical delusions, right where we have experts needed to do damage control, which from what this organized crime method that didn't let people, because of their skin, read, and other people, they could only read crazy things, box things. And all that, all the exceptions were like that. They were to a spot. They know that it would be noted, so they made those exceptions also criminally involved, needing to hide the same lie, a breaching screen of liars, originally and still. Fake care, fake morality, sequence shifting, preventing mandated law that needs to pretend it's about encouraging people. If they were encouraging people, they would just follow mandated law, and then with everything, evolution comes. Then they would have to admit that they're liars to themselves and to others. Anyone who wants to justify the pathology of modern infrastructure recorded worse than ignoring how it was is criminally foreign influenced and tied to glorifications recorded of our founding fathers, identity thefts glorified. That's how sick it is. That's why when you see Mr. I forget his name, the senator, he's got a scary face. What is it? Like you can see everyone's a victim predator, and then you get frustrated, and that's those frustrated reactions built the precedents but that was with theater against each age, compressed by fake aggression used criminally as fake formally in collusion with the overt criminal enterprises and with private and all that shit police-sized that pretending integrity. Each age of fact cheapening nature raised, suit and tie fake, counter fake, incapable of the quality of fact cheapening nature that that modern religions wanted us to demonstrate about the criminally re-engineered value of campuses, which doesn't stop at campus, and it's deeper than depth. It's the identity of depth. It is identity of relationship to itself. You have poverty on top of a river. It's an indication of correlation that exception nature are being lied. Exceptions are being lied about and around. A drum we pound. The native games. The Burroughs book, it stacks the means. It trains. This only tames two beasts. Campus Marcius rises in the east. We need the name. These other campus, that's all they do. They can't follow. They have a detective Samuda recorded who pretended he arrested me. That's how they got invested each year since before the Trade Center attack, criminally involved with interbranch police and military police. Also tied to it, Eric Burgess recorded and confessed involved by himself and by some girls involved criminally with the judges and with their police leading up to a 2006 case, leading up to the Trade Center attack. On off CCSU, recorded and confessed by them too, confirmed. I never saw him on campus in my life. Also recorded and confessed involved criminally with the policing of the businesses associated with the military families criminally involved. Intercity with that spot through time, and with the Dillian family, and as the ones further criminally involved with the child abuses. Child abuses juxtaposed not to, shows what they're needing sex crime acts to be caught for, because then they can only they're using this for times where they're not letting the mandated law follow. They're using those same misprision, whole bunch of doctors recorded and confessed criminally involved with all various natures of crimes and physical delusions at once. They have offensive Russians and Americans have offensive conspiracy theories that they use offensively, which is recorded because they're forging names to write the stuff, to pretend the things. They're with crime methods, acts, and roles in cases, and with delusions in cases, and with cases treatments that were recorded used to force a principal sex offender because no one's following the rules, so no one can tell. And that what's not following the rules, not by accident, is invested, needed to not further follow them, lie about it further. We have the Santa Claus is about misprision criminality. I believe that's the word. Oh Lord. This is about how a correlation shows that the McCord family and the DeMorals were recorded and confessed involved with fake sides of issues that they're using lawyers criminally to hide lie progressions from interbranch criminally involved with each age of fact treatment in each on and off campuses. Also, they use the area around the Cove through time and criminally. And, you know, they use a method, like especially with criminal justice, has been tied to interbranch and intermilitary identity theft rackets. See, when you're lying about people, that's not just by accident and identity theft. This made collusion the organized crime method that the Burroughs book is to counter. Because every time they speak in the news, they're already recorded crime acts roles with all various natures of people from my town recorded and confessed, coerced, influenced, and used criminally for various natures of crime acts with areas within interbranch and with on and off campuses since before I was even there. This is also with DACA corruption, with the people that use criminally, and criminal uses of lawyers recorded. See, that's why I have to go to the sequence shifts, because they're making passion crimes and theater fake sides of issues to hide sequence shifts and to make collusion with that, with naive fact treatment natures that criminally foreign influence sick predatory branches need. That's the conversation here. Don't pretend it's racism. It's sick predatory law, fake law, identities of value, and Oz. So we have to have forgiveness for this, for not to give up. So everything else, which is convicted, blaming others, other things, and selves. And I can't defend ourselves from what maintains the outcome. Fake care, time imposition on each identity of position, even the context, even on off campuses, even each age of fact treatment nature, consciously a victim predator, maintain roles by uses of correlation nature, by physical delusions, and by criminality systemically involved with psychology. Now we have to be able to report mandated law, the physical delusions with psychology, because there's also recorded systemic criminal uses of them leading up to it, as Trade Center crime acts rolls. See, we have Russians and Americans with recorded crime acts, and then needed to pretend other. That fake credibility leveraged for sustained criminal uses of the town offices, of local interbranch families, and of everyone's family, because they're lying to other family members the same way they're doing. This is sick. See, this is tied to criminality with former director of the FBI. And with the nature of the FBI recorded in collusion with the police chief's family, foreign and domestic, criminally involved. And with them, with also recorded and confessed involved criminally with the people on Covington Street, and my new and past neighbors criminally involved with Nordstrom's, West Farms Mall. Also with a Chris Walters, and evidence bodies criminally involved with Hartford Superior Court, offering my father to do his deposition there when they had the people with also fake Facebook pages and fake YouTube pages pretending to be me, and other people that are in my family. They pretended to be my father on Facebook. They have, a Mazzucato family I had nothing to do with. They recorded and confessed involved also with a Mike Roberts and Mike Pandolf, involved with the crimes with the databases, clicks associated with the Samuel Dix house, and with other houses down the street from there in the Webb house and next to the Webb house on Wells Road, and that goes down to the main street of Weathersfield, the corner of that house there with a Gilmore lady associated with sexual crime acts with police that forms interbranch, and with their family members, even their mothers criminally involved, because they got in their kids invested, pretending they're victim predators, especially ones without a father, like the Joshua Schumack. His mother recorded, confessed, involved with the criminal uses of there are doctors, male and female, who are with psychology, with jobs. That are just indifferent, and so they're using the time and the sensibilities while they're playing stupid to force, to coercion. That's why they're causing little kids at certain ages all to tell lies, to be liars. They're playing a sick game through time. They're also that Joshua Schumacher tried to send me a little girl with like they set up little things to make we have offensive evidence crime method that really had the sick laws with slavery, the sick forms of it. Because everyone, even our founders, our American history is about the slavery of our founders. There are stolen identities. And it's about our obligations to be a quality of fact treatment nature that is allowing mandated law to demonstrate this. Because otherwise they're just going to keep in every modern nation fake free speech. Fit as comparison nature, relying upon sickly, distinctly tortured nations each. Let just one teach. Free speech. Now, free mandate, and we have, so there are criminal justice department, and all this associated with this Detective Samuto, criminally involved. Also with with girls who confess to me and others involvements with being sexually abused, but now they're women involved with the same campuses criminally involved that were used for their sexual circles, criminally involved with them. Like with the criminal justice department at CCSU and this detective Samuda pretended he arrested me. A Miss Phillips associated with a student of hers associated with police forms intercity, criminally involved. With the name Alicia, interstate. And with a bunch of people with the name Alicia, with the identity theft crime acts, sequence shifts, crimes with police forms, with shared crimes with sharing their women and stuff like that, intercity, foreign ones juxtaposed, like a Greek guy. Then even the governor recorded, confessed, and demonstrated he's involved with criminality with girls and boys at East Hartford through time, intercity through time. The same ones associated criminally involved with the DeMoro family, and with the CRT building recorded and confessed involved with crime acts roles with the judges criminally involved, in the police forms, and their families with the principal sex offender, and with the ones they forced him to sustain with these crime acts roles. And let's go. Stop stacking names. People pretending they have a conversation with me, switching their own names into branch. Who get them in sequence? So I can't. They want me to sue. So the attorney general is being lied to right now. The fake news involved is being used as a weapon right now with Congress, each branch of the government. Follow mandated law and get down. Come on, Mr. Sessions. This is old, obligated. And I'll tell no lies. And they already did. Way too many. These are sick things. Boxing. That's what kept... Don't mean aggression on you, Mr. Sessions. Come on, man. We don't have no time. This is I've been asking since before the Trade Center attack to report things. They keep stacking fakes on me. On everyone. They're online right now, pretending to Google. They have the recorded. The Trade Center attack. They're juxtaposing sex crime acts, all natures of crime acts, like the fake YouTube pages pretending to be me, the fake Facebook pages pretending to be me, the rape threats interbranch using their own Facebook pages, using the Facebook pages of the campuses, using the Joshua Julia to spread rumors about that are recorded, proven true. Also recorded, tied to the crimes that were confessed into the deposition in the Hartford court, criminally involved for even asking to have it there, and then for involving it with all this junk, criminally involved with Lena's Pizza too, in New Britain Superior Court through time. I just remind. This is before so. They prevent police reports, and if you try to catch something with it, because they've been using people, they've been using HH criminally on off campuses, pretending that it's for, because they have right to lie for things, but they're using that criminally. They're using it to hide lie progressions for what is really sustaining the overt criminal enterprises, criminal insidious natures and acts. Criminal insidious natures like wrongdoers, systemic, and acts like predicate acts, systemic. Methods of getting away with it, recorded. The whole methods motivating it, recorded. Now follow mandated law and stop playing games. Because this is also criminally involved with the Washington courts and the proven sequence shift of the Trade Center attack 9th Circuit, with the same actors further recorded and involved with criminality, identity thefts against people from the context, fake evidence reception. No one's watching. They're telling everyone to believe that the FBI is what it is not. It is only positive value nature in relationship to forced forwards and the forced retreats that every modern nation is. It is no, we have no integrity with the organized crime countering bodies here because they are using them criminally. Sick prisons, sick, fact cheap in nature, value nature systems that tactfully didn't reach out to everyone. Even what you could afford, we could all agree, just separate from the laws. The zoning laws don't let us build. You don't keep people. This was built. They say, oh, I want to keep people to interact. They're keeping people needed to be used to hide life aggressions, personal, grouped, and together in collusion, states and areas of each modern nation. This is non-distinctly, fluently in control of the fact-cheating nature of modern nation. In an identity of negative value nature progression, pretending to care about the environment. This is the practical way of look. Just follow the mandated law. Get these offensive evidence perception delusions and styles down, because they're still everywhere. And that's not racism, that's not prejudice, it's a breaching organized crime method. So our founders would like us to know this. It's demonstrable. Our American history is stolen in our face. We have no news. We have a huge industry right there. You know, we could study how they're motivated to pretend other because they're victims, but this is what forgiveness for. We're not going to get mad at them because we need to study their passions when they pretend to be with credibility they know they are not, because they were recorded with crime acts with a principal sex offender that forced him to sustain and forced others still with this campus now criminally involved. There's an O'Connor criminally involved. At least one O'Connor family criminally involved, confessed, further involved with the interbranch police, criminally involved with the campus. And with medical crime acts, sex crime acts, identity theft crime acts against the kids and through them. And with the Joshua Julian, further criminally involved on and off campuses, and with the interbranch police online criminally involved. They're juxtaposing natures of crimes because they need the reactions to go through where they have the various natures of courts criminally involved with hospital triage networks, intermilitary ones, raised criminally foreign influence, like that Dave, whatever his name is, lived near the associated with Ray Clough and Joe DeMar. Other people that had classes with them criminally involved, I had nothing to do with. And this Bob Chase and this Phil Claw, he also pretended to have conversations, know me behind my back criminally to my family. See, but we have various natures. That's also they were recorded and confessed involved with Cuddy brothers. I also don't know, like 3 or 4 of them. Also recorded and confessed involved with the crimes with identity theft, crimes with courts, and with police forms like state police forms, and doctors, intercity, criminally involved with forensics, and with body dumping spots, people associated with golf courses criminally involved. Berlin Turnpike. Fred Grisey said that Hooters, I've never been in there, on the Berlin Turnpike is also criminally involved. He said that people with the Gowan Park Cemetery, Cedar Hill, where J.P. Morgan is involved with him and others involved criminally with the police chief's family, like a Mazzucato, married into Wethersfield police chief, and his and the child offenders proven cliques that are also used for evidence crimes. A whole bunch of people involved with Stop and Shop, further criminally involved with the foreign and domestic, criminally involved with criminal uses of the crimes in courts, one-way reports. So we need mandated law. They saw with the evidence recorded. recorded that they're making mistakes with evidence about online interbranch rape threats. Then sequence shifting, hiding confessions in the courts, and they're forging and switching names. All you have to do is get the name in true sequence and tell them to say they're sorry to the Attorney General. And with the state's attorneys also recorded forging and switching names as means to prevent their offensive criminal uses of courts through time against each age of fact nature. Real bad. Not just principal sex offenders, against each age of fact, each sex distinctly and non-distinctly. They're recorded having raised all fakes. And how? So let's go. Fake branches bow, then fall.